time for a few questions, and then we get started.
Okay.
Okay, we got Vincent. Awesome. Okay, everybody coming in. Alrighty. Okay, people are nicely coming in. So I'll start with a quick intro as to who I am, what I do, and what this is all about. So welcome everybody to this Unicorn Pitch Battle. I'm Guillaume Clo from Validate Tech, where we work as a online accelerator, where we focus on growth for startups and mostly tend to invest into SaaS startups from practically anywhere in the world. And today I'll be your host, where I'll try to give everybody enough time to pitch their best startup. And I'll try to give some pointers as to what you need to pay attention to and things like that. So with that being said, we're gonna go to some of the judges that we have here for a quick introduction. And with the first judge being very much on time, we'll go to Raymond. Raymond, a quick intro as to who you are, what you do.
Hi, everyone. I've been on a number of these. I was very much excited by the quality and range of opportunities. My background actually, maybe fairly unusually, is in fixed asset financing for technology startups many years, but recent years business development, fundraising, mentoring, and many sectors, but at the moment particularly sustainability, solar health, quite a lot of SAS and medtech, but pretty wide range. And I have contacts and clients in many countries and many different industries. And I was looking for something out of the box, but very much, especially at the moment, centered on commercial robustness.
All right. Thank you for that intro, and we'll move on to Vincent. Uh, Vincent, a quick intro, who you are, what you do, and what are you looking for with these startups?
Oh, hi. Hello, everyone. Always a pleasure to be here. So my name is Vincent. I'm based in Barcelona, and I work for Mac49, which is a Silicon Valley-based company that does both incubation and advisory services to large corporates, mostly in the corporate venture capital arena. So we help them design the CVCs and create deal flow and evaluate potential investment opportunities. So here, well, I'm always looking for startups to introduce to my clients.
Awesome. All right. Next up, Adrian, what you got for these startups?
Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm organizing startup contest for Polish startups at Plugin Foundation, which is technology diaspora, and I'm responsible there for startups between VC contacts between startups and VC, mostly in the UK.
Okay, great. Next up, Thomas from Expert Dojo.
Hey, Guillaume, good to be back. Yeah, my name is Thomas Richter. I'm a venture partner at Expert Dojo. We're an early stage accelerator based in Santa Monica. We are looking for startups to join us that are post-product, post-revenue. The average company has around $10,000 MRR. With the current uncertainty in the macroeconomics environment, we're like a little bit more interested today in B2B enterprise SaaS. But we're still pretty open to any verticals. And if that sounds like you, happy to have a chat.
All right. Okay, then we're moving on to my main man, Gary from GS.
Hey, Guillaume, how you doing? Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome from Palo Alto, California. My name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've been involved in 17 startups and several unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software. which was sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, and also Eva, which we just sold May 4th. I love artificial intelligence, quantum computing, metaverse, Web3. I am the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Palo Alto. We have 121 companies in our portfolio representing 52 countries around the world. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. And then we're moving to Gaurav. Please let her rip.
Hi, Guillaume. Hi, Gary, and all the judges and participants. It's so good to be here again at this wonderful event with all of you guys. Hi, I'm Gaurav, managing partner here at Elite Ventures. We manage private equity investments, and we are also an institutional advisory firm to the GPs and LPs. And look forward to listening to all the wonderful pitches tonight. Thank you.
Okay, great, great, great. So with that being behind us, now it's time for the startups to really get loose and show us their stuff. So startup number one will be Luas.io. Do you have everything ready?
Yeah, I just have to share my screen.
Okay.
And I will be ready. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's start. Just to give you a little bit more context, I will talk to you about Tesla. During the Irma hurricane, Tesla was able to update the car batteries, allowing to increase the autonomy of the car, allowing people on the area of this hurricane to flee. This is something customers expect to have today because they have this kind of update behavior in any kind of piece of software and applications. But this is something extremely difficult to do on a critical device such as a car. With Luas, we want to make it easy and possible for any market in any for any company in any industry. Today, software is extremely agile and hardware is completely driven by software. But the big difference is that we have hardware specificities, which is a big problem regarding agility. First, we can't have the same versatility because we can't run the same kind of tool. For example, we can't run Docker. It's difficult to keep it loose coupling and extremely difficult to reuse some piece of code. And to finish, there is no default connection between the different electronic boards inside an electronic device. All of it completely breaks the agility of the whole design chain from the embedded side to the cloud. The result is that embedded system engineers spend 75% of their time to remake existing things. That's why we created Luas Engine. Luas Engine is the world's first open source dev tool that makes hardware as agile as software. To solve all those problems with Luas, we encapsulate any features, software or hardware into services, and we put API on top of those services, allowing those features to be connected all together as if they were all located in the same place. And this makes product development versatile, loosely coupled, and connected. This also completely changed the way people think about hardware product development. Instead of this really monolithic way to make it, where everything is designed for one specific product, Luas Engine allows developers to sync the code as tiny and independent bricks that they can compose to create the product step by step and to make it evolve extremely easily. Thanks to Luas, devices becomes as agile as software and natively CI/CD compatible. Engineers spend 75% of their time to innovate instead of 25% with the traditional way. We opened a community 1 year ago, and since the last 6 months, we are facing a growth down more than 40% every month on the number of members on this community. And recently, we've seen a lot of companies joining our group. So this community is talking to us about some side tools, and we will create a SaaS business model based on those side tools. And we plan to develop those tools in 2 years. We are a team of 10 engineers, and we are 3 founders at Luas. So if you want to learn more about what we are doing, you can directly contact me using the email on the bottom right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that presentation. It was well within the time. Judges, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I do. How do you make money?
Right now, we don't make money already. And the idea is to make money on some side tools because we have the core technology, which is open source and free. And we will create some side tools, which will be completely web-based. And those tools will allow enterprises to manage developers on the project management, exactly the same way, for example, Docker does. We plan to develop 3 different tools. The first one is a kind of marketplace allowing developers to share the services they develop with other developers. The second one is a tool allowing to inspect everything happening inside the product at a nanosecond scale. And the last one is a complete CI/CD toolchain allowing a company to follow the different revision of the different services available, to get feedback from any bugs, and to deploy a new revision into any device anywhere in the world. And those tools will be like a SaaS business model on top of it.
And when are you going to start making revenue?
Yeah, we plan to start making revenue in 1 year. Right now, we are working on developing those tools. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Next question to Adrian.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about your beachhead segment? I saw that there is Volkswagen, Apple in your community, but is there any that you want to focus on first?
Yeah, the main focus right now is robotics because this is the easiest market for us. This is where we are coming from. And also this is a market where engineers are really open-minded to a new way on innovations. So that's why we're targeting robotics first. This is the easiest market for us, but we start working in a lot of different industries at the same time. And we have a go-to-market strategy, which is extremely bottom-up. So we are targeting embedded system developers first. And this is the main focus we have in terms of marketing. And this touch a lot of different industries because there is embedded system developers on a lot of different industries.
Okay, my main man, Raymond, what do you got?
Hi. Yeah, very interesting pitch. I can see many applications. Could you maybe give me some idea of case studies and especially return on investment? I'm very interested in how this is utilizing sensor data and generally data flow through hardware from and obviously into the cloud.
So as a use case, we have some real-size humanoid robots. We have some nuclear devices working inside the nuclear plants. We have some medical devices. We have IoT devices. So we have plenty of different use cases of this technology. And because we're providing API on top of any service, we are able to get back any kind of information from any sensor or any motors, for example, or any battery, directly from any piece of software, which allows to completely break the frontier between the software and the embedded world. And so basically we can get any kind of information and data from any kind of devices extremely easily.
Great, thank you much.
All right, Gaurav, what you got?
So Docker is good for virtualization in the future, right? It certainly has lots of applications, but as it scales, Docker does have challenges with architect layers and monitoring tools and other things, right? How are you addressing them to stay ahead of the competition?
Yeah, the idea is just to, this is the main point of the side tools. The side tools we are working on are some tools allowing to improve how to visualize and to manage a good and clean architecture inside the product. And this is something that will target enterprises because enterprises will have complex products and they will need to have this kind of management. That's why we plan to have our business model focus on these kind of features. And we are discussing with some guys from Dockers and learning from their mistakes and discoveries about how to deal with it and what is the sweet spot for it, how to start working on displaying this kind of features. Right now we are at the perfect moment to start displaying it and to experiment it with the user we already have.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. With that last question, we'll move on to the second pitch. As founders, keep in mind, try to keep your answers as concise and straight to the point as possible. Next startup on the list is Control Energy. Are you ready?
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, thank you. Let me just share my screen. Um, okay, cool. So, did you know that only 5% of the batteries that were ever produced are actually recycled, and 40% among them are actually destroyed because too complex to be recycled? This leads to a situation where only 1% of the lithium ever produced is reused in new batteries, with the lithium price increasing by 400% during the last year. Well, that was before LiPo. LiPo is our vision of the obsolete-proof battery. It's a battery that is fully recycled, recyclable, and reusable. We have a proprietary technology of a wire-free, welding-free, scalable battery that is smart and connected, and that is adapted to any chemistry. So here is basically the technology. The idea that is that at the end of the life cycle of the battery, you don't need to throw away your battery, but just to replace the cells. In our business model, the cells at the end, after 5 to 8 years, are returned to be fully recycled by us. We are working on technology to overpass the 85% recycling limit. You can use lithium battery, lithium cells, sodium cells, graphene cells on LiPo batteries natively. Don't need to any additional BMS or any additional hardware to recognize the type of the cells that you are using. And the result is a battery that is 30% smaller and lighter than a regular 12-volt, 7 amps per hour battery. Now, speaking of vision, we have this vision of the universal battery, where you can use the same type of battery for any application and controlled by one ecosystem and one application for B2C or B2B. Now, speaking of application, as we have really infinite applications, let's summarize. You take 3 LiPos and it's a battery for your bike. You take 6 LiPos or 9 and it's a battery for fast charging all your electronics and get rid of these stupid chargers. You take 81 LiPos and it's the LiPoPixel. LiPoPixel is somehow our answer to Tesla Powerwall. It's not good looking storage and supply device that can supply 30% more energy than a Tesla Powerwall and cost 50% less. From the B2B side, we also build different products where, for example, the LiPo becomes the universal battery for any handheld tool. We have small solar cases and up to the 65 kilowatt per hour mobile solar station. Now, LiPo today is two patents, one in France that will be turned into a European patent and one in the US. We are working on 3 new technologies for, I can give more details about the 3 techs we are working on. We have a functional prototype that can charge fully a web server for 3 days. And we are an experienced team gathering, me and my co-founder are gathering 20 years in the energy storage industry and a cool product. So yeah, so I try to respect the 3 minutes delay, so I cut half of my slides. But yeah, basically that's where we are. We are also building collaboration with other manufacturers because we have a vision of product branded LiPo, but also the ability to license the technology to other manufacturers that are outside our scope. For example, we are working with AEG to produce telecom, UPS. We are working with people in the marine industry, etc., etc.
Okay, I would definitely say in 10 seconds, where's the business right now? How do you make money? And what do you need?
So where is the business right now? So currently we have established the proof of concept. We have a functional prototype. the software and the hardware are fully functional. Our business model, first, we will target B2C, direct to market, because for us, I've been for 10 years in the B2B part, and I know that it's very time consuming. You have many entry barriers. The players are very big. So we will target B2C because we want Lepo name to be a household name. Then we will basically, after year one, switch to the B2B and produce, our product range for B2B.
Okay, then we have two questions. One from Thomas. What do you got?
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm just wondering, what's the size and weight and performance penalty that you would have to tolerate? I think it's a great concept to make it more easily recyclable and replaceable. But what's the drawback in regards of versus, like I would say, a fully customized, optimized for shape, size, and weight non-recyclable battery? I'm kind of wondering.
Okay. Well, the size and weight are not so different. Now, if you have, if you are speaking of AMP batteries, it can be difficult to compete with an AMP battery, especially if the shape is very particular. But otherwise, the scalability of Lepo is really, really high. We found out that dividing the battery into smaller units, all controlled, all connected with their own cooling system, etc. We have a proprietary cooling system. It reduced drastically the loss, the conversion loss, and the heat. So we can get higher than a battery with the same number of cells, like a regular battery with the same number of cells.
Okay. Next question, Gaurav, what do you have?
So this is more towards battery energy storage system, correct?
Sorry?
This is more focused towards battery energy storage system. Lipo is an energy storage. This market itself has quite a bit of competition, right? From the corporate players like Mitsubishi, Siemens, and all, to Ion Energy and many other tech companies that are coming into it. Would you mind throwing some light on how you are better than the competition, whether it's the corporate players or whether it is these new tech startups?
Yeah, well, I've been in the industry for a while, and I found out that the established competitors are a bit lazy to innovate. So how we are better, we have, well, the technology side, we built a charging and discharging system that limit the loss, limit the heat and the loss, easily convert. So basically, a Lepo battery can smoothly provide from 5 volts DC to 110 or 220 AC.
Why would a customer adopt your battery system versus the competition from a customer perspective? Why would they adopt it?
First, because it's scalable and they can use the same battery for different applications. So basically, you have your 3 Lepos in your bike. If you want to go on a weekend, you can take your 3 batteries plus 6, and it's a small storage system. You don't need to manage 20 different batteries.
Would you sell these storage systems to B2C, or would B2B be? Oh, you can sell it to B2C as well.
Exactly. So the goal is not to focus on one particular segment after 5 years. Well, to start with, we will target B2C because it's easier to showcase, to demonstrate, and it makes sense for the user.
I think I have my answers. I will let other judges ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thanks for being a team player, Gaurav. Okay, moving on to Raymond and then Adrian. Raymond, what do you have?
Right, thanks. I think it's pretty interesting product. I particularly like flexibility, but I wanted to find out more about the economics of lithium recovery. Maybe you'd be kind enough to say something about that.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I'd like to know more about the economics of lithium recovery from the batteries when they return to you.
Yeah. So basically today we have a barrier of 85%.
Yes, you said that. Yes.
Yeah. And our goal is to overpass this this limit. The current technology, the current recycling technology is very basic. So you know, I when I visit a recycling plant, it's closer to stone crusher or to the paper destruction. And our goal is to.
Sorry to interrupt you. What's the current rate?
Oh, the current rate is 85%. Oh, no, you mean when recycling a single cell, or speaking of the market?
The market.
The market is 5%. 5%.
Yes, you said 1%. What about individual batteries when they actually get to the recycling plant?
Well, on paper, 85% of a recycled of the lithium contained in a recycled battery is recovered. But in fact, when we visit some recycling companies, we found out that 40% of the batteries that are recycled on paper are actually destroyed because too complex to dismount, to isolate the cells, etc. So they burn them. So that's the reality of the market today. And
Yes.
our goal is to go to a kind of micro factories, so micro recycling units that are automated, limit the human intervention on the recycling side, and you know, rather than going to the like gigafactory model, having small scale automated recycling units across many countries.
Okay, that's quite attractive. That could be another sort of revenue for supermarkets, all sorts of local distribution points.
Mm.
Can you give me a rough idea of what you would expect to make financially out of that process? Is that possible at this stage?
Well, at this stage, the recycling itself will be minor for us, because right now we are, you know, from the technical side, it's very easy for us. We are building it, etc. The big challenge is collecting the used batteries, because we will sell brand new cells today. We will recycle our cells in 5 to 8 years. But in the meantime, we need to, collect other batteries, recycle other batteries, and build our cells from other recycled batteries. So it will be a very minor. I would say it will represent, once we will be live on the market, it will represent like 5 to 10% of our revenue.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, last question to Vincent.
Yes. Hi. I have to confess, I'm not a battery specialist, but my understanding is that the innovation here lies in the actual setup of the battery, but not on the battery technology itself. It's a traditional lithium battery technology, correct?
Oh no, not at all. So it's a battery. In fact, it's a battery that can be any kind of battery. So it's a if you put lithium cells, it's a lithium cell, it's a lithium battery. If you put sodium cell, it's a sodium battery. This is the first innovation. The second innovation is our pairing system. So we are building proprietary pairing system where you have a token exchange. When you get the battery closer to the energy system, the battery is automatically connected. You don't need to pair it with some complicated Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, etc. So this is the second innovation. The third is our cooling system. So we get rid of fans and forced cooling system. So we, when there is a conversion of current, we store it on ultra capacitors and redistribute it. So basically, we reduce the heat by 50%. We reduce the losses from conversion by 80%. So it's a new way of rethink the battery. So from the outside, it looks like a battery. So our goal is not to frighten our users, but from the inside, it's tons of IoT. We use machine learning to get all the constants from different cells at different stages on different conditions, etc., to build our predictive model.
Okay, with that being said, moving on to startup number 3, Campanino.
Okay, thank you very much. I will try to share my screen.
Control Energy should stop share, and then Campanino can start. There we go.
Okay, so whole screen. I open the presentation, go into presentation mode, and start with the first slide. So Campanino will combine all the elements of BlaBlaCar, crowdfunding, Airbnb sharing concept, and we want to include Erasmus possibilities as well. How can you imagine it from this perspective? Let's start with the story behind. Two friends of mine and me, we went on a road trip and we had a space left in the car and in the apartment as well. And the concept is, why not sharing this on a travel sharing platform with all the data in it? So travel location, time period, price, participants, published on our travel sharing application. So we have in the beginning two main user stories. The first user story is the organizer. The organizer has an existing group and they have a space left. They publish it and other applicants apply for the trip, and the organizer can go into exchange with those members and then put someone in, so the costs can be shared and you can connect to new people. And then as well, the other way around, joining members can explore various trips on our platform and decide what kind of trip fits to them, and they can be part of the existing group as well. And at the moment, we are a small team. We have some mentors and partners already in place due to networking events. And our stage at the moment is the proof of concept, due to the fact that our main competitor, which is Join My Trip, is already on the market. And we have created a survey, and there more than 50% of our target group are ready to take a stranger into their existing group, and more than 50% as well are ready to join an existing travel group. The way we make money, you have to imagine it like this. When a trip is $350, then the organizer has the ability to publish it, for example, for $400, and the existing group gets the $50 per additional member as a pocket money, and I get 10% plus fee out of it. And our MVP will be ready next month, so in November. And at first we will launch via crowdfunding trips, which are empty trips. And as soon as enough members per trip are there, the trip will actually take place. And then in the future, the plan is that the private persons will launch and publish their trips on our platform. So travel agencies will become obsolete. If this interests you, you can visit the website or check our LinkedIn page. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Moving on to questions for Campanino. Okay, Adrian, number one, what do you have?
So you mentioned Join My Trip. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about how you're different from them, and what would be the key feature that you would use to lure the users of the other app?
Mm-hmm. So after the MVP in the next year, we want to expand in a way that we integrate local users. So you have to imagine when a travel group is in Rome, for example, and oftentimes the group stays for itself, so they do not connect to locals. And we want to integrate a kind of area radar where you can see other Campanino users and you can actually connect to the local Italian guys, for example, and you can add them into your evening events, etc. And at the same time, I have been at the lake recently, and there was a firework and I was not aware of this event. So we want to integrate local services as well, that the group will be aware, okay, in my surrounding, this specific events will take place. And then as another USP, international travel should be enabled, which means someone from England can travel with someone from France together to New York, and they can stay in contact afterwards and can arrange remote exchanges where you just have to switch location and only pay for the transport. So these are our expansions Join My Trip do not have.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, Raymond, what do you have?
Yes, I'm not, to be honest, not quite sure about this one, but I wanted to ask specifically about flexibility, and also with obviously disagreements or having to change plans, that sort of thing. Is there an apparatus to actually deal with this? Because otherwise it might be very inflexible.
You mean the international exchange?
No, I'm thinking of changes, particularly in world we live in, where plans have to be changed either before the trip or actually during a trip.
So before the trip, you have, of course, cancellation deadlines, and you will have a group chat where you can switch things slightly, but the main ideas that the trip is already pre-organized. And there are just spaces left in this trip. I don't know if it answers your question.
Yes, it does partly, but I was thinking in particular about flexibility. People might want to join together with others for part of the trip and then maybe have their own plans, or maybe have a longer time, say in one particular city than other members of the group would agree to. Is that just it has to be decided by the group members, or do you have a mechanism to deal with this in case there are, as I said, disagreements and
So what we are planning to do later is that someone can enter the group later, so in between, and then he or she, of course, only need to pay the rest of the trip. Or the other option would be that there are open trips, that only the beginning is planned and then the rest of the trip is open because they want to maybe go to Australia, but they do not have specific targets. So the group later can plan from this point forward. So it's not fixed already. And we are just launching the beginning of such an open trip.
Okay, that's interesting. What about mechanisms for accessing discounts on travel, accommodation? How's that going to be built in to your product, so that the organizer can be aware of the best deals, and also maybe negotiating itineraries based on special offers?
Mm-hmm. This is something we want to work on as well, because when you have a travel group and you have local services or apartments, they would have the advantage that a whole group is buying from them, whether it's the hotel itself or a bar or whatever, and then hopefully a win-win deal can be negotiated, so they can get a discount or something like that, and at the other hand, the whole group will enter. But this is something for the long term. At first, we will concentrate on community building, which we will do next year.
Thank you.
All right, Gaio, you have a question.
Thank you, Guilherme. I will have one short question for Daniel. Great presentation. My question would be about the extent of the market. Speaking about the target market. I mean, you said on your presentation that it's the people between the age of 18 and 40, but I'm mostly interested in volume. What is your service obtainable market as such?
So we will start in Germany, and in Germany we have found out one 0.3 million users a year are already going on pre-organized group travels, but 75% of people are ready to travel alone instead of with their existing social environment. And the combination of our survey with the around about 30 million bookings in the main travel categories gives us a potential market cap of around about 14.8 million users in Germany. Then, of course, we want to expand to Europe and worldwide, Asia, US as well, which is 1.3 times bigger in Europe and worldwide another 20% higher.
Thank you very much for elaborating. Good luck.
All right. With that said, moving on to startup number 4, Bunkai. Are you
Hey guys.
ready?
Yes. Let me share my screen. Screen. Did that work?
Yes, we can see your screen. Just put it in presentation mode and we should be good to go.
There we go. So the problem that we're tackling at and looking at is you have a lot of coaches and physiotherapists who use movement screening to analyze a patient's or user's movement, their range of motion, and so on, their progress. The problem with that is that these people are still people, they're human. So a lot of them will use their eyes to do this, and it's very objectively, but it's still subjective because you're just not a computer. Or there's a marker system in place, and the problem with that is that you have to put your markers on the body, so to say that this is your elbow, that is your wrist, for instance. But if you ask 5 different people, you get 5 different solutions, basically. So what we are focusing on is we are focusing on the biomechanical feedback data that we can give to professionals in sports and in healthcare so that they can conduct a better analysis of people. Oh, there we go. We are targeting 2 main groups. We're targeting on the sports side, we're targeting performance coaches and strength and conditioning coaches. They're probably related to sports club, like a football club even or something like that. And then on the healthcare side, we're targeting sports physios who also potentially are linked to a sports club or to a bigger revalidation center. Outside of that, we still have other options as well, but those are the main 2 targets. We have, apparently we're lowballing this quite a bit. We did this calculation bottom up, and we spoke to someone recently and said you massively undervaluing this market, but essentially we want to show that there is definitely a market for us to grow in. So how does it work? Essentially, we use computer vision to analyze parts of your body. We know that your wrist is your wrist, your elbow is your elbow, your shoulder is your shoulder. From that, essentially, a lot of calculations happen, and we give data back to the user, in this case, a coach, for instance. So they would see that your leg is at 90 degrees, and you maybe have to hold it at 100 degrees, so you can take that away. The benefit of using computer vision is that we standardize that data. So we don't rely on someone's eye anymore. We use the AI to say that this is the data that you want, essentially. This works on laptops, desktops, and phones. So we developed it as a web app. The goal is obviously to also develop mobile apps in the future, but for now we have to choose one. We choose that one. Oh, there's different sports as well. But yeah, there we go. So I go to market strategy. At the moment, we're focusing on the early adopters, the people that really sort of want to use technology and just test it out, essentially, and word of mouth from those people. We also started to contact sports clubs. We have a football club already that we're testing with, and we might have more football clubs. We just don't know at the moment because people sign up now, and they might be affiliated, and we wouldn't know. We're looking at partnerships with influencers. We have one already on board. We actually work together with someone. I'll come back to that later actually. And then marketing obviously is another channel. What have we done in the last few, well, so far we've been prototyping and building an MVP. We had about 50 users for a B2C platform, and then essentially we pivoted to B2B. So we started from scratch, building and more focused on the analysis part. We're integrating with a PT training academy app. We have some proof of concepts running, and we just had over 200 people sign up on our new platform. Essentially, we're not making any money yet. I heard the question a few times already today, so we're not making any money yet. The goal is that we integrating a payment system in the next few months, and we're going to start charging for different tiers as a B2B service or a SaaS platform. And then in the future, one of the things that we do is we are going to move from 2D to 3D, which if you're in the know of this is a bit of the holy grail of computer vision, but it's very difficult to do, and it requires a bit of a team, which is, you know, we're working small at the moment. So at the moment, we're working with a few sports physio centers that are very well known in Belgium. I'm Belgian, hence the link maybe. We also work with a football club, and then most, what I really want to call out is the performance coach for the Belgian national football team is actually our main influencer, and he loves our product. Basically, he uses it all the time. We also have signups. We started tracking signups 7 weeks ago, and you see the progress here. We had a viral video going week 6, and suddenly got a bit of a spike, but it's going up. There's a lot happening on social media. We were looking forward to what people are using it for. You see a few examples here of different, this is knee valgus testing. There's some physiotherapists who are testing out range of motion. This is a video I did with a golfer, but there's also someone who did a cricket pitch. This is the performance coach I was talking about. And
to wrap it up a bit.
Oh, sorry. Oh, and this is the last slide. So it's I'm the founder. I have a developer working with me, and then we have a few advisors, and that's it. There we go.
Right. Okay, judges, questions, and also don't forget to vote on the startups. First question we have from Adrian. What do you have?
Yeah, this is very interesting for me because I'm going through it as well, and there are injuries that are not that easy to spot. I have a problem with my knee, and I know that there are multiple different injuries that can happen. How your technology can spot different or help with different injuries in the same area.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm not going to pretend that we are replacing a PT or a physio. I think that's a very clear distinction to make. There are technologies out there that are saying we are becoming the remote physio and we'll do it all. That is not what we want to do. We want to give the physio another tool in their toolbox to help you and to help them analyze what is going on with your body. So I'm going to be honest and probably say a system like this isn't useful to measure, to know exactly which injury is happening in your knee, but it will help you in your recovery, because especially when you have knee injuries, when you need to recover, you need to do your exercise at a particular angle and stop there basically. And without a system that measures that, you kind of don't know what you're doing, and this system could help you in getting back to play or getting back to health quicker. And I'm sorry for you.
Okay. Next question from Vincent.
Well, I'm also injured. I'm actually going through rehab now.
Yeah.
So very relevant. I'm wondering. I mean, I love that concept. I'm wondering about the cost per unit, and whether there'd be a difference between usage in a club or by yourself in terms of the kind of device that you can use and so forth.
So as a cost, we're going to build a tier system where essentially at the moment it's free, right? We're testing. The first tier will be either 5 or 10 euros, depending on what the market kind of says. which will give you extra features, basic features that will just make it more user-friendly, essentially. And there are already some of them built in. We're actually testing them already. But then obviously you wouldn't want to charge a club 5 or 10 euros. That'd be a bit silly. So we're going to have a membership for 50 euros a month, and potentially more, but we feel like 50 is a good starting point. From that, they'll be capped to a certain amount of users, because what we'll have is we'll have a parent account and we'll have child accounts to that, basically. So the parent account would be the club, the child account would be the end user, the patient, the player, whatever you want. So that'll be capped to maybe like 20 people. And then if you want to go above that, you need to pay per extra user on top of that, basically. So that a club with 200 members would pay several hundred euros, essentially. What was your second question? It was
usage at a club versus
right.
At home.
So we're actually testing this with there's different ways of going about it. So there's a football club, they're testing it on a laptop. They're walking around with laptops and tablets basically across and next to the field, and they just wanted to do it that way. We also have sports recovery centers or rehabilitation centers. What they've done is they attach the laptop to a TV and put a webcam on top of it. So you can either use the webcam from the laptop, or you can use a better webcam, attach it to the TV, get it on the big screen, and then they do the exercises in front of the big screen, and then you can, for instance, see how your knee is moving. But you can also use it on your phone if you want. I mean, I know there's many people who are basically measuring things on their phone, which is something we found out was very popular. Actually, I would like to add one more thing, because you're the second person now that says they're recovering from injury. One of the biggest issues with injury recovery is that you go to a physiotherapist, and the first time they explain you what to do, you probably have no clue by the time you get home what you should be doing. And you're standing in front of a mirror and you're kind of trying to replicate what you're supposed to be doing. And so with a system like this, we can in the future program this to say, okay, these are your exercises. And then at home, it's not going to be perfect, but you're going to have some range of motion. You're going to have some feedback to say, this is what you should be doing. Now try and do it. And there'll be a monitoring and compliance system to that basis, so that the physiotherapist can see that you've actually done your exercises. So I just wanted to say that's a really big use case for us in the future.
Yeah, that was exactly my thinking. A little bit of advice. I think that you should also target martial arts clubs.
Yeah. So
proper technique is very important, and alignment and so forth.
Yeah. So bunkai means analysis in Japanese. It's actually a martial arts term for disassembly of kata. I do karate, and so this is the original thinking. The reason why we're not focusing at the moment is because there's not many clubs that have money. And because we moved to B2B play, we're kind of stepping away from that a little bit. But if you look at our Instagram, there's a lot of martial arts going on, and we're definitely not forgetting it. But thank you.
Okay, awesome. Next up is Neuroprofiler. Neuroprofiler, are you ready?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Clara Astier, and I'm a business developer at Neuroprofiler. Neuroprofiler is a French SaaS wealth tech that helps financial advisors diversify themselves through gamification and behavioral finance. So today, people are feeling a bit confused about investments. Why so? Because there's a lack of customization. Clients expect a more user-friendly experience. There's a lack of purpose. For example, millennials want to have an impact on their investment, and there's a lack of financial knowledge. People don't really know in which products they should invest. To answer this problem, Neuroprofiler offers a gamified onboarding process that appears under the form of questionnaire through different modules. We have 5 of them. The first one, the risk profiler, is for the risk preferences assessment. Then we have the ESG profiler for the ESG preferences assessment, and so to know if the client has any interest towards sustainable investments. And then we have the MiFID profiler for the client suitability assessment. With those 3 modules that are questionnaire, we can then use the ROCO profiler to recommend some financial products such as funds or portfolio, for example. Finally, we have the Edu Profiler, an e-learning platform gamified to help customers know more about the mechanisms of financial products. A use case, for example, would be one that we did with a large insurance company, would be to use the last module, the Edu Profiler, to leverage the sales of complex products. How? We send a few amounts of links of the Edu Profiler to the clients. On their own, they can fill in the questionnaire, they can learn about complex products, for example. They play the games, etc. And then they are redirected towards an advisor to start investing. The results are diversified in the sales. You help the customers know more about finance, and you are doing all of this while being compliant with the European financial regulation. So in our case, MiFID. Today, we are working mainly with private banks, retail banks. We are partnering with some fintechs, and we are also, as I mentioned, working with life insurance company. Most of all in Europe, because we are working under the MiFID regulation, but we did launch some POC in Singapore, Colombia, and in the United States of America. With no provider, you increase your productivity by 20% and you decrease your costs by 25%. So if you have any interest and need for a demo of our solution, don't hesitate to reach me. Thank you.
All right, great presentation. Okay, judges, questions. Okay, Gaurav, you're up.
So I have a couple of questions, right? Are you targeting financial institutions or are you targeting retail customers?
We are targeting financial institution because our model is a B2B2C. Like the end users of our solution would be you and me, so private investors, but through a financial institution.
No, I understand that because a lot of it, ETF, ESG trading and investments are done off exchange, right? Instead of being done on exchange because of the MiFID rules and others. I'm very well familiar with the MiFID 2 and MiFID 3 is coming up. The question that I had is here is why I asked. The retail investors that are participating in ETFs or ESG investments in Europe, they already have their choices sorted out where they want to invest, how much they want to invest, whether it is in, sustainability, green bonds, or whether they want to participate in US, European, and other stock markets. How does this behavioral finance help them? Say I am a private investor, I want to invest $5,000 in JP Morgan ESG bonds, right? Thematic bonds or something. Why would I need that? Why wouldn't I directly go and participate? What is the risk profile here we are showing, especially when these people that are buying these ESGs or ETFs are well aware of the risk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really depends under which regulation you want to invest. In Europe, at least when you're about to invest, even if you know in which product you want to invest, even if you know your personal own risk tolerance, you have to pass the questionnaire. So now, most of the time, for example, people who invest very often, they're just going to see the advisor and the advisor is gonna fill for them the questionnaire. But normally you have to pass it every year to actualize it. So that's why the companies, for example, the banks, they don't have to choose our solution because they can develop their own, they can go to competitors, but legally they have to have this kind of questionnaire. And why do we exist? Because once again, at least in Europe, most of the time banks have an existing onboarding process, but it can be very dull. Most of the time it's just a PDF file to fill, something that you print, you tick off the boxes, you sign it, and then you have to rescan it. It's not very user-friendly. And so the behavioral finance enters here by giving something very smooth, a bit playful, quicker also. Like we are never gonna ask.
How do you make money? Commissions are not allowed with ESG, ETFs, and these financial products, right? What would be your business? Because that's part of European rules, which is why a lot of it is done off exchange with all the market makers and underwriters. How will you make money if this is B2B to B2C?
We are already making money. Our business model is based on completed questionnaire. So honestly, we don't really care if you have a high tolerance to risk or if you want to buy many ESG products. Our only focus is that you complete the questionnaire. And for example, if a private bank has 10,000 clients and gives the questionnaire to 5,000 people, we will generate revenue from those 5,000 people, no matter what is the result.
Understood. I'll let other judges ask questions. Thank you.
All right, Vincent, what do you got?
Yeah, just a little question. The 20% increase in productivity and 25% decrease in costs, how did you get to these figures?
Some POCs that we launched with partners, and also from the experience, the company has been created in 2016, and we've worked with like those companies, so it's the data we gather from those partnerships.
So they told you themselves?
Yes. For example, with the Suez as a private banks, once they used the solution, we were able to gather the data and analyze it, and it was the result.
Okay. I was also wondering whether there's any litigation risk, for example, in case of you're through you determine that a client has a certain risk profile, and eventually that client complains that, for example, his portfolio ended up too risky and he's lost money and he decides to sue. Could that sort of litigation percolate to you?
We never had that. It may happen, but we never came across it. And also, we can assess more than 1,000 different profiles. Of course, a bank doesn't have 1,000 matching products. So what we do is that we gather profile according to the bank's wish. For example, if the bank asks us to create only 3 types of risk profile, very high, very low, and medium, we can absolutely do that. And that way we can be sure to match the products and match the client's expectancies.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And then we're on to Raymond. Raymond, what do you have?
Great, thanks. Very interesting progress and presentation, thank you. One of my questions was actually partially asked by Vincent, which is really about portfolio management, portfolio risk. Especially, I would say, if you are working directly with private banks, other institutions selling their own products, their classification of risk is often very wrong.
Yeah, so about that, we sadly don't rate the products. We can work in 2 ways. The first one, the banks gives us their own ratification, and we have to work with that. And the second one, and it's what's happening very often with the ESG because it's quite new, we are working with partners whose job is to analyze the products. So we can do either option the bank prefers, but we do not rate the product ourselves. We only rate the clients, the investors.
I realize you have limited opportunity to do this. I'm very interested in seeing this product actually develop into a retail platform to bring in a lot of different products available through these individual institutions. I think this could be very powerful, and obviously for right partners, this is quite achievable.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the end of your sentence.
I'm very interested in seeing how this might develop into a direct investor platform, rather than using private banks, etc., who all have their own agenda and often have very strong marketing.
Absolutely. Most of the time we are working in white labels, so our solution can really be implemented everywhere. Also, if such a company would come and seek us, we would be able to do it, because for us the only need is to be some kind of advisor, even if it's a robo advisor. So I think it could be possible. And yeah, also perhaps a little bit more helpful, because right now there are a few questionnaires on internet that can give you your own risk tolerance, but it's very plain question. So perhaps this would be more pertinent.
Dashboard for individual retailers, or does that depend on your on banks and other institutions you're working with?
I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm the one having some trouble, but I didn't catch the beginning of your question.
I'm wondering about presentation of the data to retail investor and flexibility and their ability also to integrate that with other products that they might be using.
Absolutely, yes. We can do that. We can integrate with the existing data of the customer. For example, I don't know if I mentioned, but all of our modules can be used separately. And for example, a bank can choose to add up the ESG module to the onboarding questionnaire. Therefore, they will already have the risk assessment, and they need to add the ESG assessment, and that's something that we can totally do, match up with the existing, to be really like yeah, to do a really smooth integration.
Okay, now we're moving on to startup number 6, Mona. Mona, are you ready? Mona, did you fall asleep?
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm David Stojkovic. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mona. Let me share my screen. Oops. Right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So today I want to talk to you about sleep. At Mona, we built a company that focuses on building breakthrough technology to improve sleep. All right. So why are we doing this? 70% of adults report having sleep issues, and for 41% of them, it's about temperature. With the main factors being stress, so stress-related insomnia, chronic conditions like obesity, genetics, and menopause. Yesterday was World Menopause Day, and 85% of women in menopause have hot flashes, which can affect their night. So thermal regulation in general is a very important factor for sleep. Our body temperature needs to cool down by around 1 degree Celsius every night in order to sleep and to stay asleep. And in the morning, it's the opposite. And so when that cycle is broken, it can have disastrous impact on sleep. And so today, actually, there was a number in 2020, $80 billion annually are spent on sleep aids. That includes everything from medication, bedding, items, and devices. And so These issues linked to temperature are why we built our first product, which is the world's first smart cooling pillow pad. So as I said, having an optimal temperature during the night is really key to good sleep. And so that's why we developed it with physicians and with sleep experts, this approach, which has a thin layer, which is a pillow pad that goes inside the pillowcase and whose temperature is regulated at the right temperature at the right time of night and for the right person. It uses a water cooling system, which is patented, and it's a connected device with 5 sensors packed in it to measure everything from sleep environment to actual tracking sleep of the user. And we've built AI algorithms, which are really unique because they can both track sleep and also improve sleep night after night using temperature regulation. So we are able to recommend the right temperature profile for the right person, depending on their sleeper profile. And so with that product, so we are actually on the market for about 2 years now. We've proven clinical and sleep quality outcomes with it, which we've published this year at the World Sleep Congress. It was happening in Rome in March. And so just a quote from one of the researchers who's been following the project since the beginning. He's head of the digital solutions at the sleep center of a renowned hospital in Paris. And he says that Muna is one of the best technologies to improve sleep. So how did we measure that? First, we measured qualitative measures. So we've asked our users before using Muna and after the 7 last nights that they've used Muna, how is their sleep on a scale of 1 to 5. And what we see is that between bad sleepers and good sleepers, we're able to close that gap with the use of Muna. And then on a more quantitative side, we've asked a survey to insomniacs, so people who've been diagnosed with insomnia, and 94% of them have improved their sleep with Muna. And on average, across the whole range of our users, so there's healthy sleepers and non-healthy sleepers, we increase about 23 minutes per night of sleep. So that's huge. That's all that much more restful sleep. And for some specific subgroups of the population, it's even more. So in 5 years since we've created this project, we've become really experts in sleep improvement. So we built a unique device, which is our first product, which we've shipped worldwide to over 40 countries. We've done pilot studies before that. We built our AI and collected more than 3 million, actually now more like 3.5 million hours of sleep data. We've published abstract at the World Sleep Congress, and now we're launching Muna 2, which is a better version of this device with a new software platform offering. So the team, myself, I'm the co-founder and CEO. I have both technical and business background. I have a master's in data science and business. I've also worked on large-scale software and data science projects before, and acted as a CTO during the early development of the startup. Damien Testa, he's a PhD in neurosciences. He's our chief science officer and has experience in publishing with major labs. And Tabia Sultan, she's our chief commercial officer, and she has 10+ years experience in healthcare. We also have great business advisors from SOSV, which is one of the leading seed stage hard tech investors in the world, and Privileged Ventures, which is a Swiss-based seed venture fund. And we also build a network of sleep experts, which are really core to the next development of Muna, with complementary expertises in sleep in general. So the link between sleep and obesity, women's health, temperature, and a range of different expertises. We've also been part of these accelerators, and our major investors, as I mentioned, SOSV, Privilege, and BPI France. Right now we're launching Muna 2, so we're actually live on Kickstarter for the second version of our device, and within 6 days we've been able to raise above $100K from people who are excited for our second product. So you can check out the page as well. And what's next? Just in very broad brushstrokes, on the B2C side, we're launching Muna 2, and we're expanding to new channels, so marketplaces and retail. with new software features, which will make as a premium app subscription. And on the B2B side, we're developing new sleep improvement software offering with the sleep experts network that we're building. And we'll focus really on pathological populations who are already part of a patient journey. So the objective is really within the next few years to be included in some sort of a reimbursement scheme or a health plan by proving other health outcomes than just sleep improvement. And we already started in this way because we've already started with research partnerships. So we've just submitted for an NIH grant in the US with the University of Chicago for a study on obesity and improvement of weight management for obese people, thanks to our device and our platform. And we're also launching other research partnerships with major universities.
Okay, time to wrap up.
Thanks, everyone. So that was about time. So yeah, so right now, actually, we're raising funds. So feel free to reach out to get more details.
All right. First question, Gaio, what do you have?
Thank you, Guillaume. David, really interesting concept. As a corporate guy who constantly have a problem with sleep and a lack of sleep, I think that you're on a brink to disrupt this part of industry. So my question would be more about your competitors. Can you tell us a bit more about your competitive landscape and what are your major competitive advantages?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so just to kind of give you a very high level landscape of the competition. So focusing on sleep and temperature, so devices that are able to bring temperature regulation, active temperature regulation at night to improve sleep. The major ones are focusing on the whole mattress. So for example, 8Sleep or Chili Technologies or Sleep Number, which are big names in the US. So what they're focusing on is to have kind of the whole bed, which is a very premium bed offering, and usually at a price point which is really not affordable. So for Sleep Number, for example, it's in the multiple thousands of dollars. For 8Sleep, it's about $2,000 per unit. Our device has a unique price point of $499. So that's much less. And actually, it's proven by our results and by the secondary research that focusing on the head and neck is as effective for improving sleep quality than, or it can be even more effective than focusing on the whole mattress, and while being less invasive, obviously. So why it can be more effective than focusing on the whole mattress is because if you have the whole mattress regulated at the same temperature, then your extremities can be too cold, and having your extremities too cold means that your core body temperature will tend to rise due to your blood vessels getting thinner. And so that's that's about the main advantages. And the other advantage is that we've built an AI around it. So other products out there have kind of a what I would call dumb setting, which is like an AC, always the same temperature at night, and not collecting the data to form this kind of closed feedback loop between the data that they collect and the improvements night after night on sleep. So yeah, that's our main point.
Thank you very much, David. I pozdrav iz Beograda.
All right. Okay. Any other questions, judges? Okay. Well, with that said, moving on to the last startup. But again, reminder to all the judges, you would have received an email with your voting link. So feel free to start voting on the startups before you actually forget how great they were. So yeah, with that said, Reach Finance, the last startup of the day. Are you ready?
Hello, yes, I'm ready. Need to switch. All right. We heard earlier how clueless from Neuroprofiler, how clueless some retail investors are about finances. I can only second that. if they don't have the opportunity to go to a private bank and get a neuroprofiler profile, and they have to go to financial advisors, they often walk out there and feel kind of either overwhelmed by the internet research or really not happy with the financial advice. And in the future, they can come to us because Reach is the navigation system to ultimate financial well-being. That we kind of all know that if you handle your finances well, you can certainly increase wealth, especially over time if you make good decisions. The thing is, only very few people have access to this outstanding financial advice. Those are, they can go to family offices, private banks, and pay somebody to give them advice. The kind of the average Joe, the rest of us, we are stuck with brokers and salespeople that call themselves financial advisors, but they're more driven by commissions and brokerage. Only in Germany, so like 400,000 people that jobs depend on getting commissions and kickbacks. The main outcomes are uncertainty, worries, and missing wealth due to improper wealth allocation. 86% say that their financial situation had a bad impact on their mental health, which is a lot of people. Now, to the rescue, that's what we are building. We are technology-based financial planner and manager. Because we're digital and scalable, we are affordable and can be paid by the users. So we're not independent, we're on the side of our users and hence make for a lifelong companion. How do we do that? So first up, we get a personal financial plan, just like a personal fitness coach plan that is based on your goals, on your status quo, where you want to go. You get an overview holistically of all your assets, over the strategy that you should have, that you want to have. And then you get a step-by-step clear action plan and tracker that includes things like where you have to build up knowledge, where you should change something if your situation changes. And so we optimize for better decision making in the long run. And basically, you could call it as financial health as a service, as a simple subscription. You track your wealth, you learn, and you get a step-by-step guide of what to do. We already did a proof of concept where we created over 500 financial plans, completely automated on the website. And in marketing costs was like €1.50, which is ridiculously low for the finance space. The team behind us, what is this we? My co-founder Daniel has been the lead digital officer at a large German private bank, has experience as a founder, even teaches entrepreneurship, banking background. Our CTO Dejan, very senior developer, also has founded before. And myself, I'm the finance nerd. I host a finance podcast. I've been the sales director for a wealth tech startup, and I've worked at Deutsche Bank, FS Global. I have like all the weird acronyms that you kind of need to have a reputation in finance. CFA, Kaya. We have a fantastic team of supporters, our business angels, for example, just to name a few. We have a professor for financial literacy. We have a top 10 finance blogger in Germany, an ex-Allianz multi-asset manager in our team supporting us. Where we are today, as I said, we have created over 500 financial plans in a proof of concept. We have currently 1,500 people on our wait list, and we are just releasing or building the last bits of our app as we speak to release an alpha in the next month and then publicly launch early 2023. If you want to know more, please reach out, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Okay, first question from Adrian.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. So like I know at least one, maybe not direct competitor, but like partially competing with what you're building. It's called a startup Plum in the UK. So can you tell us a little bit more about your competition and who do you see that you might have to fight with?
Thank you for asking. As you see, I thought this might come. Generally, you can put our competitors in a couple of different buckets, right? You have the typical savings app, which is Acorns in the US. I don't exactly know. I know Plum, but I don't exactly know the business model. But for example, just like Roundup apps, which help you easily save money, but it's not really in a plan. So actually, there has been 3 in this category. 2 of them already went bankrupt, just because I think they're lacking the broader vision. The neo brokers, which they reward you if you're active, which if you're familiar with finance, is really bad for you. The more active in finance you are, the worse your returns are. So the less you do, the better it is. Then you have the social trading, same system here. Do more, do more, do more. It's like a heroin addiction, right? The more you do, the better you will feel, but in the end, actually, it destroys you. And then you have robo-advisors, which are the only platforms that have this financial planning, financial opportunity set onset. But what they do, they use financial planning as a sales funnel to sell their own product, which many people that we spoke to in our discovery felt actually this is, it feels a bit weird that you want financial planning and all you do is sell your product and things. They only make money if you invest with them. But often the best choice for you is not an investment. It may be a cash account, it may be an insurance product. And with us, basically by paying us a low fee of maybe say 100 euros a year per year, we can holistically give you the best option for your money in your situation.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. We have one from Raymond. Raymond, what do you got?
Hi, yeah, interesting. Well, it's only a lot of competition. This is an exciting area. I was wondering, what is the policy regarding individual stock or other product recommendations?
Really good question as well. So we kind of, so I have a vast finance background, and in preparation of doing this like the last 2 years, we first thought about should we tell them go for a robo-advisor or should we go to a broker? And for now, we said we're not going to recommend individual stocks or even individual products. This has a regulatory impact. What are we going to do is we have a kind of asset allocation that exists of safety asset and growth assets. Growth assets is usually indices like the MSCI World. Safety assets can depend on the user is a global bond ETF or even cash, which makes more sense than a bond ETF in certain terms, because if you look at the financial markets, we just crashed 20% in bond ETFs the last year, which would be hard sell to people. So our idea here is to keep it as simple as possible. And I'm hard pressed to see a robo-advisor or active manager or active fund that outperforms a simple, globally diversified ETF. As you see, we have some multi-asset portfolio managers on our investor team, and we are kind of working on a more personalized portfolio for the future. But in the MVP, it's just literally like you have 2 indices, and we're going to recommend you a asset allocation based on your goals, which is fairly unique because most say like they just do the MiFID portrait, that new profile I mentioned, and then they end up with one risk profile in one portfolio. We kind of want to do that, but for your entire life, maybe put it into different buckets. So you have one bucket for this goal, another bucket for another goal. But generally, we will stick with very broad ETFs.
Excellent. Also, what about tax implications, particularly relating to lifestyle as your clients become older or their situation changes, get divorced or want to support the children, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So currently, our clients are like around 27. So the biggest tax implication they have is investment gains tax, and we let them choose if they want to have this part of the financial planning process. So in Germany, it is not allowed to advise on taxes, but what we can tell them is like, look, without knowing your personal tax situation, this is probably the money you will have to give to the government once you take the money out and say, for example, you're saving for a house to buy in 6 years, and you want 50,000 in cash to have as a down payment.
Right.
So we can calculate you will not roughly need 60K after taxes if you take it out. So this is where we model the tax implications, but we can't. What we can add in the future is, for example, in like estate planning. But this we would have to work with a tax advisor, which we're planning like a version 5, say, in the roadmap.
Yes, no, that makes sense. I mean, that's something to be developed later. Also, what about international market development? I mean, I assume you're focused on Germany at the moment. How's that going to expand?
Yeah, so currently we're focusing on Germany, but we already tested. So the proof of concept, we also tried it with a bit of different markets. So we tried it in Austria, just with a very small sample size, to be honest, right? In the German-speaking markets, just because we didn't have to change anything. And the numbers were just the same. So we are very confident we could very fast move to Austria, especially because the surrounding financial regulation setting is very close to it. We could also, I think, move to Switzerland quite easily. And the nice thing is, because we don't offer investment products ourselves, we are not a robo-advisor, we are not as heavily regulated, we are offering financial planning service. So once we adopt typical standard models for taxes, for how much retirement income you need. For example, in Germany, I know if you retire, you need 80% of your income, the government gives you 50%. And there's a 30% gap that you need to fill on your own. In France, that maybe government gives you 70%, but you need 110. I don't know, I'm just making those numbers up. But we need to just import those standard numbers we're using, and then we can move to another country. It's really simple because we are not the regulated ones. We work with regulated platforms such as brokers, but they will be, more partners instead of competitors.
Yes, it strikes me that this could be internationally very useful, given that it's not that specific to Germany, because you're not actually giving financial advice and you're not regulated.
Exactly.
And also, how
exactly.
it can be integrated with other products. Is that something you're looking at, for instance, to import financial data, or also maybe with your one's stockbroker or other financial transaction provider, you might say?
Yeah. So we're looking at open banking, which is basically that we could get for our onboarding, we could get the data from the bank, and we were in conversations with B2B providers. So we could, for example, be, if we wanted to, our own broker. So you could make trades for us and you would not have to go to another company to do your brokerage, which would be a way to expand our reach and make it even simpler. On the other hand, we're also looking to partner with, say, brokers like banks, to have an interface where people could send their trades to that we are telling them to do. This is definitely something we're looking into, but first it is to get more data, because this broker transaction, there's no known API to go to a partner, right?
Just to cut in between, because we're kind of running short on time. Please do connect with all of the judges. Raymond, I would suggest to connect with Andy. Now it's time to actually start voting for all the judges. And then we can announce the winner of today's pitch battle. So everybody got 1 minute to vote. Again, your voting page should be in the email. Please vote for which startup you thought was awesome. And we will be able to announce the winner in a couple minutes. Right. Is everybody ready? Just waiting on my colleague, and then we should be able to announce the top three. Okay, at number 3 today we have Bunkai, who is going to improve the lives of all these athletes and people that are serious about working out.
I'm so sorry, it's Lena speaking. So Lewis and Bunkai, it's second place. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Third place, I will send you right now in chat. Just a moment.
Okay. We'll be waiting for these last results. Okay. Third place is Neuroprofiler. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the number 1 lady in the team.
Yay.
And there we go.
Thank you.
All right. And 2 and 3, like I said, Bunkai and Luos are at the second place.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. And at number 1, the head honcho of the day goes to Control Energy. All right, all right. I would definitely say to everybody, stay sharp, stay doing what you're doing, stay focused, and let's change the world, guys and ladies. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye-bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
Guillaume.
features.
Much.
Thank you.
Looking
Bye.
forward to the next.